Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 117-106 loss to the Phoenix Suns. Riker, what a game that was to watch.
Reffing, impeccable. Technology, keeping technology issues to a minimum, fantastic. Keeping turnovers low and controlled, amazing. And, really stepping up against one of the top tier defenses in the NBA. That was my immediate reactions in a backwards world, Ben.
Yeah, this game was a tough watch, not just from the play on the court, but from, as you mentioned, the tech. The floor seemed to be going crazy. We didn't know if we were playing on a Raptors home court or a Phoenix home court, or if there were fans. I don't know what was going on with that. Matt Devlin was apologizing seemingly every 30 seconds for the problems on the court. The turnovers were a massive issue. We saw there's definitely some positives from this game, but a lot of guys just not hitting shots. But from the last scrimmage, Riker, I kind of want to analogize it to, when you have a big event coming up and you have a couple really good practices or re-ups before that happens, and then the one right before that event just always sucks no matter what it is, and that's what it looked like from this game against the Phoenix Suns tonight.
I feel like you have a very specific example in mind, and I'm not picking it up, but we'll run with it. But Ben, before we even get into basketball, it was one thing to have their on the court AR, augmented reality, logos going a little haywire. It's come to expect it. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. You know more about it than I do, but you're getting these symbols to show while players are running on top of them. Maybe that's difficult. I don't know. Maybe it's difficult. But for me, not even getting the clock and the score, the scoreboard to work. Like, come on. It's still the NBA. They've been doing this for years and years. And then also, my friend made a joke, and I guess I didn't hear the reports on it. I probably should have been a little better ears to the ground. But he made a joke that they'd put faces on those screens. And I was a little thrown back seeing, all the Zoom call fans on the board. I don't know if I like it or not, Ben, but that was the tech side of it that I was a little bit uneasy about this game.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, and we'll probably get into this more in the Damari Kill Gold Star. But honestly, let's throw it out right now. The Damari Kill Gold Star award for this game tonight, it's not going to the players, even though it probably should have. But the tech in this game was just horrific, as with all the stuff on the court and all that. But the Zoom calls and the fans, do you know those are pre-recorded? They're not even live reactions to the game. They just throw on pre-recorded Zoom call reactions of players.
Seriously. No way, really? So they get people to do a celebration face and or a disappointed really? Oh, that's even worse. And it wasn't a good idea in my opinion to begin with.
Just giant faces floating around the court. It's a weird look. Maybe we'll get accustomed to it and it'll look good. But let's get into some of the basketball in this game. And we kind of drove out with a few negatives, but let's get some positives. Riker, OG Anunoby. There's been reports that his handles have been much improved, and that's been a huge talk of discussion over Raptors land the past couple of days. Against the Blazers, he showed some really nice crosses we talked about in the last podcast, but his comfort on the basketball court tonight, even though he didn't have a huge box score number, he only had 10 points, really, he just looks like a whole totally different basketball player out there.
Well, it must give you a certain amount of confidence, Ben, when you're able to do more things out on the court, when you become a bigger part of the offense. And despite turnovers tonight, he had 4 turnovers. But basically everybody that stepped out there on the court tonight or this afternoon had 4 turnovers. It was terrible. So we're not going to open that bag of chips there, Ben. But I thought, for all intents and purposes, OG looked good tonight. His defense, maybe not his offense so much, but his defense looked good. He had a couple of really nice blocks, and he's becoming, like I said, more a part of the offense where he can take the ball off the dribble, he can attack, he can create, and then dish. And then you put the rest of it on top of that, what he already delivers. He's becoming a real nice piece. And I thought Marc Gasol looked really clean tonight too, but I'm sure we'll talk about him as well.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Just to finish off on OG, you mentioned it. He had a few turnovers. He looked like a couple times he was forcing a little bit, but the comfort level and the fact that he's trying these things without hesitating. Because this year we did see him sort of try to dip into his bag a little bit more of different moves and all that, but he always seemed hesitant in doing it. He always seemed to always second guess himself or take a couple extra seconds to scope out the floor. But right now he's just going into it with so much comfort, and even though it's not perfect yet, and there's certainly a lot of room to improve and all that sort of stuff, the fact that he's in a place where he's looking smooth, looking confident, that's such a key for OG Anunoby's development on this Toronto Raptors team. And you brought up too, Marc Gasol, with the fresh cut record. The last video we had a little debate about the haircut. It's the new cut Gasol. People are liking the new haircut, and he matched the haircut's performance in the game tonight. Knocked down a few threes, moving well out there on the court, and it's good to see Gasol back healthy and playing well.
I'm looking at it now, he actually did the worst out there, and I put a lot of weight into the plus minus. I don't know how much you like to look at it, but from the eye test, I thought first half, it seemed like the Raptors were getting bullied by the Suns' second line. And I thought this might be an issue, but then they put Ayton back out, and then Marc Gasol came and followed him, and he had like a block on him one possession. He shut him down for the most part, had some good rebounds. I think he had 9 rebounds on the game. From me, even though maybe the plus minus is a little bit deceptive, I thought maybe even his weight loss over this break has amplified his abilities, because we know he's not a huge offensive output player anymore for whatever reason on the Toronto Raptors. But I liked what I saw, because say what you want about the Phoenix Suns defense, they do seem to have a lot of long guys on their team, and they seemed for more or less kind of neutralized when Marc Gasol was out there on the court.
Yeah, no, most definitely. But Marc Gasol, obviously, the defense has always been there, and you kind of forget about how strong he is on defense when you don't see him play that much, because you look at his body, he doesn't look like a guy that's a defensive presence, a prime Dwight Howard, or even a Draymond Green, mobile but big, but he just gets the job done out there, and as you said, he just completely locked up Ayton. And it was, on offense, he's looking for a shot at least. He shot a few mid-ranges, started off the game hitting a shot. So that was a good scene to behold out there. But I got to give credit. I got to give credit where credit's due. The Phoenix Suns really played a solid, intense game on defense. This guy, Carter on the other team, I think it's Javon Carter, came out, was really hounding the players. I think I talk about him every time we play the Phoenix Suns, but they came out with a lot of energy. And honestly, a decent test for the Raptors, especially the bench guys coming out and playing against some aggressive D. Even though it seems like all of the games we've played have been really competitive, especially compared to other games that have been played amongst other teams.
Well, they should be, because the Raptors are the defending champs, and there's also been a 4-month absence from basketball. So I thought about it today, because there's been a lot of comments on how difficult the seeding games are now for the Raptors compared to the rest of the teams in the bubble. But I thought also that kind of makes sense, because it could go either way. You give the defending champs an easy route, or you challenge them a little bit. And I don't mind that the Raptors are going to be tested. I sort of struck issue with the fact that the defensive presence seemed to really disrupt the offense of the Raptors this game, because again, I don't think that the Phoenix Suns have amazing defense. I don't think they have elite level defense. So if they're getting flustered by these these kinds of presses, which they were, like there was a lot of traps that the Raptors threw, bad turnovers. I don't know if that's jitters, or if maybe the Raptors need to say, let's get a little bit more serious here while they're out there. But for me, I was also looking at it like a lot of the intensity seemed to come from Cameron Payne, who of course got cut from the Toronto Raptors, and it looked like he was out there looking for revenge. Like he was getting very upset when calls didn't go his way, and I thought it was kind of surprising for a backup point guard on a bad team. But maybe there was even a little bit of I won't say hatred. That's not the right word. There was a little bit of like a bit of a grudge going on, like a bit of a grudge match, man.
Yeah, that's another DeMarre Carroll Gold Star Award we could throw out in this game. Cameron Payne really, as you said, came into this game looking like he had a grudge, something to prove to the Toronto Raptors. As obviously he was on our preseason roster. He was trying to make this Toronto Raptors team, but unfortunately, didn't make the squad for him. But tonight came out really aggressive and, as you said, pretty energized, but just couldn't throw the ball in the hoop. Went 0 for 10 from the field and missed a few layups, and it was. I was honestly hoping the guy would make a shot, because I felt bad. All of them they were all pretty close, but the ball wouldn't go in the hole for him.
No, it was. You know what? But he was playing hard on defense, and I thought that the Raptors, I thought that they needed that test. I thought it was a good thing. They're going to go and get challenged by a team that's not very good, frankly. I don't think they stand any chance in clinching that 8th seed in the West. So to go and get your butt kicked for 48 minutes before, the real test comes up now and you're going to start playing with the big boys and playing for playoff, what your seeding is going to be, I thought it was maybe a good wake-up call for the Raptors.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And we're going here, but a couple of other positives to take away from this game. Pascal Siakam, 17 points, 6 of 9 from the field, 4 of 5 from the 3-point line. Siakam's knocking down his threes. If he gets more minutes in this game, I think we come back and blow the Suns out. What were your thoughts on Siakam tonight? Because he looked like all-star starter Siakam here in most of this game.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought the same thing that I did last game. You made the comment you want to see him take shots from all the different spots on the court, and he got after it again this game. And this one was more of a challenge, too, because he's not going to have as easy a job getting into the paint with the longer bodies that the Phoenix Suns have this game. So I thought he still did a really good job in scoring.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So he had a really strong game. Lowry obviously doing Kyle Lowry things. I don't even think we have to talk about him. We know he'll be fine. He's hitting his threes. That's the only thing you really have to worry about with Kyle, because for the past 7 years, he's brought it in every facet of the game. Just sometimes the shooting comes and goes at times, especially with injuries. But the shooting seems to be on target with Lowry, so that's a positive. And Norman Powell, he's kind of struggled shooting the ball the past couple of scrimmages, but tonight, knocked down a couple shots. We thought he'd do a classic Norman Powell off the bench momentum swinger, knocked down a couple threes right in a row. He had 14 points tonight. It was a positive from those three guys specifically, on top of the other players we've talked about.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I thought Ibaka was underutilized tonight, too. We talked about how he's become a reliable 14 to 20 point guy. Tonight he shot decent from the field, I think, and only 8 points, and he had one of the better plus minuses, almost 10 rebounds. So he's a guy too, like in a more important game, I'm sure we'd be looking for Ibaka to be more of a scorer, but just didn't happen tonight.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. He only had 5 shot attempts. That's very rare from Ibaka, especially in a game where he's played 20 minutes. Looked like he was kind of floating around, probably just resting, preparing for that Lakers game coming up, I believe, Saturday. But there was a few negatives to take away, and we've talked about the deep bench a lot, but one guy that's really seemed to struggle in these scrimmages that we've kind of brushed upon because we assume he's going to bounce back, Fred VanVleet. He had a few points tonight. He had more points than usual, but in terms of these scrimmages, but really couldn't hit the mark from the 3-point line. It's going to be essential for Fred VanVleet to be able to knock down his threes. We saw what happened when he went in a shooting slump last year against Philadelphia. Are you worried at all that Fred VanVleet might not be in a groove, in a rhythm going into the season, or do you think he'll just snap out of it?
Ben, let me ask you, does Fred VanVleet need to have another kid?
Do the Raptors bring Fred VanVleet's wife down to the bubble?
Well, it seemed to be the cure of the slump last year. I don't have any issue. I don't have any worries about Fred VanVleet, and he usually picks his series as well. Some series are better for Fred than others, and sometimes it's matchups. And I think he's still a somewhat streaky guy, his type of play. And I thought I don't know. He's a little bit different than Lowry in that, Lowry's going to take his shot. He's going to keep shooting that same shot till he makes it. Seems like Fred VanVleet, he'll switch it up a little bit when he's not making a shot. I think, he's got to almost do the same thing as Lowry. Like, stick to it. Shoot a bunch of threes if you have to, or ideally attack the paint and try to draw some fouls. But we'll see. I'm not worried about him.
Yeah, and the issue with Fred, too, is when the jumper isn't going, you see a lot of teams sag off him. And then, obviously, with his size, he doesn't seem to use his body. He uses his body pretty well, but not as strong as Lowry. So he usually gets blocked underneath the paint if he's not blowing by people with the threat of that jump shot. So the jumper needs to be there. I'm sure he'll bounce back, but something to look at going forward, especially as we inch closer and closer towards the playoffs. But a guy that we've praised a lot on this podcast in the past few games, Terrence Davis, really struggled tonight. We see the sort of second side of that Terrence Davis coin, not really knocking down his shots. We'll save that for the segments, but what were your thoughts on TD tonight?
Yeah, it is what it is. I don't think we need to delve into it too much. This is not the game that we need to pick apart everybody's performance. That's my opinion on it. One of those games. That's how I chalk it up.
Yeah, that's fair. So may as well swing into the segments tonight. The spicy Pele of the day. Riker, do you have one in mind?
Spicy Pele. I'm thinking of a couple OG blocks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Nothing. No particular play is coming to mind for the spicy Pele. Do you have something?
Yeah, we had a couple OG blocks that were really nasty, and there was one possession where I think we ended up throwing the ball around, made about 12 passes, I feel like, and then, Gasol is kind of being in the center of the offense, catching every second or third pass, constantly swinging it, and ended up with an open three for Kyle Lowry. So that play was pretty exciting, but not all plays can be the spicy play of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And Riker, tonight the OG's play of the day, I kind of alluded to it earlier, Terrence Davis. The Raptors, I'm not sure who hit the three on the possession prior, but we were just searching for a momentum swinger, because that's what the Raptors usually do. We kind of keep it neck and neck for a stretch in the game, and then we just ride a momentum wave where our bench, led by Norm, TD, any of those guys, bring back the game. And someone hit a three, and then Terrence Davis got a steal, and he's obviously struggling with his three-point shot in this game particularly. Came down and had about three guys on him, and then ended up shooting like a quick floater-ish three to try and swing it. Really, really a tough shot. Almost airballed it, almost grazed the mesh, but it touched the top of the rim. I don't know. It was a tough shot. Made me say OGs, especially where it could have been a potential momentum swinger.
I got a different OG. Yeah, that's fair. Momentum swingers, those are always the ones. Like you're not really comfortable with quick threes anyways in transition, especially when you don't have. Unless it's Kyle, but no, even if it is. But if they go in, it's good. If it's not, you're like, it's a bit of a wasted possession. That's how I usually look at them. But I have two that I was eyeing up for OGs. One, it was OG, and he had, I think, two possessions back to back where he had blocks, and then he got a ball and then a steal. It was a block. I think it was a block, and then a steal, maybe. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a steal, and then he went on the fast break and dribbled it off his toes. Yeah. Which I was waiting for him to just really break out some crazy handles and do something wild, but that never happened. So that was one. But two, Ben, maybe you'll appreciate this. I don't know if it was my coach in junior high or high school, or if it was maybe classic Baz Kavanaugh, or teaching us post. Maybe it was even Max Athletic. I don't know. None of these references will mean anything to anybody listening, but
Baz Kavanaugh shout out on the podcast.
Big shout out. But listen, somebody was teaching us post defense, and bear in mind our team was very short. Like we were all probably 5'5" to 5'11".
Riker the 5'11" power forward.
Yeah, with maybe like 2 6'3s. That's about it. That was our age group, and we were being taught post defense, and basically this was like our shimmer of hope, was to really just get your knee under somebody's thigh, and then if you really could, get them to just underestimate you, put all their weight into you, and then pull the chair. And that was the thing, pull the chair. Right, you give somebody the phantom weight, and then you pull it back, and they kind of fall in their own weight. And Fred VanVleet, he did that tonight against Devin Booker. It was on an inbound, and he pulled back, and Devin Booker fell down. They called a foul on Fred, and Fred was rightly offended by that because he pulled the chair, and that's the first thing I saw. That was the perfect defensive possession, and the refs did not give him any sort of recognition for it. I thought it was a terrible misjustice.
Bro, looking back at that, I'm not even like, I saw that possession too. It was whack that was called. But how was our post defense strategy pulling the chair?
That was it, dude. We were that short. They were that unfaithful in us. They're like, just, get them to lay the
other team falls over
away, and then step away. Oh, man. God, that'll tell you how good our team was.
Hey, yo, we were actually pretty filthy for a Newfoundland provincial squad, but that's how it is. We already threw out a bunch of Damari Carroll Gold Star awards. I don't know if we want to throw out another one. Stanley Johnson, we gave it to him a few too many times.
Let's lay off. We'll give it to the Tech.
Let's lay off. He had a nice take tonight. Got fouled, so shout out to Stan. Hopefully that's a little bit of progress, but I don't know. We'll be fine after this tough game. Definitely better than that provincial team was pulling the chair on defense.
Yeah. You'd hope.
You're the best for making it this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. Riker, any last words?
Sip and Saturday, we are on.
Yeah.